What's up, CBSI Nation? My name is Jack DeMayo, and this is a Con Recon exclusive. This past weekend at HeroesCon in Charlotte, I had the privilege of sitting down with acclaimed writer Donny Cates to talk all things God Country, Redneck, and his newest hit, BabyTeeth, as well as what he maybe have coming up the pike next. So be sure to enjoy this CBSI and comicbookinvest.com exclusive conversation next.
Changed my entire life.
Yeah.
I come from a bit of an indie background. I mean, I say indie, but like my first books were with Dark Horse, so it's still like top 5, But God Country was the first book that really gave me. I got a lot of attention for, and it was very unexpected. My partner that I do that book with, Jeff Shaw, we've done 2 books prior to that. And while they were like critically very kind of well regarded, they didn't sell for shit or anything, And so, yeah, none of us were expecting God Country to do what it did. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that I can't talk about right now, that we'll be finding out about next month, that you'll understand why I mean that it changed my life.
Yeah.
I mean, it put me on a lot of people's radars.
Well, that is probably segue, and I imagine you couldn't answer that, but it segued into the next thing where people were asking, people were almost disappointed to see that. I don't know why, but the information wasn't really out there that God Country was a miniseries, and then it was like when people found out, there was a sense of disappointment, which is a compliment to you because people loved it so much.
Right.
But and so that was my next question is, I know there's been talk about optioning or another series, but I imagine that's what's next down the pipe.
For that book?
Yeah.
The last issue comes out
Really?
next week, and that's it.
That's it? Done for?
Done for.
Ready to move on?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Jeff and I pitched that book as 6 issues.
Yep.
And we had something to say. We had like I don't know, we kind of had a statement that we wanted to make, and it was only ever going to be 6 issues. Again, we never knew that it was going to be this thing that it turned into. So, Image came to me after the first issue kind of popped off, and came to my buddy, the art team and me, I should say, and asked us if we wanted to keep on doing it, if we wanted to turn it into it and keep it going. And we had a big long talk about it, and no, man, like we just it was already it's doing a thing, and it's hard to talk about, but I think once people read issue 6, they will put issue 6 down, and they will be glad that there's no more of it, that we told a complete thing. And I think that certain stories lend themselves to being these like huge, sagas, if you will. And I think that also on the other side of that, I think that some of the best books ever made are 6 issues long.
Right.
I mean, Year 1, Dark Knight Returns, Kingdom Come. These are all books that are just always around, that you can just hand somebody and be like, dude, just read this. Like, this is a full thing, full story. And especially with God Country, anyone who's read it knows that it's not about a magic sword. It's not what it's about at all, right? So to keep the story going, it would have just turned into a story about an old man fighting monsters with a big sword, and that's just so not what we're interested in doing. We had a thing that we wanted to say about well, you'll see. Read it. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, no more.
No, I think personally I can appreciate that. A lot of people have a hard time leaving the money on the table and leaving it done when it's done.
Well, the thing is, dude, there's always money.
Right. There's always something.
There's always. I mean, if I got into this for the money, I wouldn't have gotten into comics. Right. First of all, but that being said, like, just because there's no more God Country doesn't mean that Jeff Shaw and I aren't doing a bunch of other shit.
That was another thing I was going to ask. Is you guys, your collaboration, the chemistry is there.
Jeff and I are booked up for the next 2 years.
Okay.
We have 2 projects, one that'll be announced next month, and one that'll be announced early next year. Both of which are pretty big.
Okay.
So
what, next month? Any hint on company or?
No, I can't say it. Just San Diego Comic Con.
San Diego Comic Con.
Just
Be ready.
you'll know it when you see it, I would imagine.
So the next thing I was going to ask is, everybody's talked about you as one of the big two at some point. Would you have a preference between the two, or is there a character you'd love to write?
You know, my career is so kind of young. You know, I've really only I've been doing this for like 7 or 8 years, but people have only really known who the hell I am for 6 months or so. So to answer your question in a very vague way, where I'm not really answering it, I'd like to work for everybody. I'd love to have a very long, cool career where I get to jump around and play, and go and put my little fingerprints all over everything. Yeah. I will say this. I'll give you this one. I have 2 characters out there that are like dream characters, and one of them is this kid named Peter who lives in Queens. Okay. Who sometimes puts on a costume and shoots webs around, and then there's this one girl out in California who slays vampires. Both of those I would kill to write. Okay. Other than that, though, but those are just dreams. I'm not giving you a scoop. No, I believe you. In fact, I can categorically tell you I'm not writing.
Right. No comicbookinvest.com headline.
Yeah, I'm not writing Spider-Man. I promise you. Dude, if I was writing Spider-Man, I couldn't keep that a secret. I would just stone cold tell you.
So, and then really, the last question was the variants for BabyTeeth. BabyTeeth came out with a lot of variants that were really well received in the market. Right. What is your kind of role in that? How do you feel about like a number of variants coming out, store exclusives and things like that?
Right. So BabyTeeth really only had one true variant. It was the Torque. So the main cover by Gary Brown, and then it had the cover B by Torque, and all the rest of them are retailer exclusives. Yeah. Right. So to me that's a little bit different than just flooding the market with 1,000 different copies of the same thing for retailers to get. I used to run a bunch of comic book shops myself, and I think it would be cool to have my own my own shops.
That's like literally my dream.
Yeah,
have my own shops variant.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So there you have it, and a special thanks to Donny Cates for sitting down and taking the time to talk to us. My takeaway from it: if you're holding God Country, it's probably time to sell. If you haven't bought Redneck, it's probably time to buy. And if you're looking for a cheap long-term investment, check out Dark Horse's Buzzkill. So thank you, and be sure to check out the rest of our HeroesCon coverage.